Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 24, entitled Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva, Text 32. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, out of his causeless mercy, the exalted personality Lord Shiva, a great devotee of Lord Narayan, continued to speak to the king's sons, who were standing with folded hands. Purport. Lord Shiva voluntarily came to bless the sons of the king, as well as do something beneficial for them. He personally chanted the mantra so that the mantra would be more powerful, and he advised that the mantra be chanted by the king's sons, Rajaputras. When a mantra is chanted by a great devotee, the mantra becomes more powerful. Although the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is powerful in itself, a disciple upon initiation receives the mantra from his spiritual master. For when the mantra is chanted by the spiritual master, it becomes more powerful. Lord Shiva advised the sons of the king to hear him attentively, for inattentive hearing is offensive. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langaite girim yat kripa tamam vande Shigurum dinatarinam paramananda madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Please repeat. The great sage Maitreya continued, out of his causeless mercy, the exalted personality Lord Shiva, a great devotee of Lord Narayan, continued to speak to the king's sons, who were standing with folded hands. Try to see Lord Shiva and the sons of King. That name is always interesting. Prachina Bahi. They are very kind, cultured young men with folded hands, receiving Lord Shiva and about to hear from him. Previously, he promised them that he will give them a very powerful mantra, which will be very beneficial for them, which was auspicious and transcendental, and that this mantra should be recited attentively, with attention. Srila Prabhupada reiterates that point in his purport. Actually, it feels like what we discussed previously is exactly what is meant to be discussed for this particular verse. So Lord Shiva here is addressed as a great devotee of Lord Narayan. And this will not go down well to some devotees of Lord Shiva. Why you say Mahadev is a devotee of Narayan? Because in the conditioned state of life, we have this mentality which is full of groupism, which is sectarian. It's the separatist mentality. It is what I am into is therefore mine, and what you are into is yours. Friends and enemies. This is duality. So what that does, it also creates in the living entity the feeling of division and proprietorship. And even when it comes to the reality of things, Krishna is the Param personality, the source of everything. And Lord Shiva is gladly, happily chanting the names of Sankarshan on his Rudraksha beads. He meditates. So the follower who doesn't investigate what he's meditating on or who is meditating on may take offense to understand that he is himself happily a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned that love of Krishna has a very particular impact, that it imbues everyone with the feeling that I am a servant of Krishna. And they relish in that understanding. We find that Advaita Acharya, he's unhappy that Lord Chaitanya treats me like his guru. Of course, Advaita Acharya, even by age, is practically almost double the age of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he didn't like this because he felt, I am a devotee of Mahaprabhu. And in that unhappiness, being treated like a superior, being worshipped by Mahaprabhu, he devised a plan. Because he wanted to taste the position of a servant. In material life, to be someone's servant is definitely not nice at all. You wouldn't want to tell people that you are a servant of so and so. And when the proposition comes also in Krishna consciousness, come, you are an eternal servant of Krishna. It's a very long time, first of all. And then second, you're just servant. Servant means the masters in this world, they exploit us. They lord it over us, and they make sure that they rub it in our faces that you are dependent on me. So even your opinions don't count. So in the spiritual world, there is transcendental happiness in the position of the servant. So that's why Advaita Acharya is plotting how to experience this. And so he decided to speak a bit of Mayavad philosophy. And word got around that Advaita Acharya is now supporting and hearing from the Mayavadis and sharing this sentiment. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very angry. He came for him, and started kicking him. The wife of Advaita Acharya was thinking, you're going to kill him. He's such an old man. Advaita Acharya was in ecstasy. Yes, I am a servant, Chaitanya Dasa. I'm a servant of Lord Chaitanya. He relished the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu on his body. Mahaprabhu has a tendency to give mercy also in these strange ways, that those who don't know him may criticize him. Shivananda Sen also, he got that type of kicking mercy from the Lord, and his sons were so upset. What is this? He's kicking our father. And Shivananda Sen was, you don't understand. You don't mind your own business. Let it be. So this desire to be in the position of the servant is very much relishable. The queens in Dwarka, they are also very much happy to consider themselves the maid servants of Krishna. The gopis, we are the maid servants of So why would Lord Shiva have a problem with being a servant of Lord Narayan? He definitely has no problem. It is the perfection of life for such exalted devotees to be seen as subordinate to the Supreme Lord. But those who don't understand their eternal and internal mood want to take offense on their account. So then there's a lot of fighting between the different servants as to who is supreme. Shiva is supreme. Yes, some will fight Vishnu and Krishna. There's a whole debate. If you read in the dictionary, who is Krishna? They'll say is the 10th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So many people, when we try to explain that actually Krishna is the source of Vishnu, they become offended. Why you Hare Krishnas want to now make Krishna God? Even in the dictionary it is said, he is the incarnation of Vishnu. Don't you read Bhagavat? In Bhagavat we see that Lord Krishna came from Lord Vishnu. Right? In the jail cell of Kamsa, first we see four-armed Narayan, all decked out in all the latest transcendental jewels. And then, because the rasa wasn't flowing according to the desire of the Lord, it was stifled by this understanding of Vasudeva and Devaki that this is the Supreme Lord. Then to increase their relish of Vatsalya, then the Lord manifested a human-like form. So that is evidence enough from the conditioned understanding. It's written. First God came, and then God became this Krishna. It is something like, if Christian, I always use your name. If you come through this door, I meet you before I meet your father. And then, in my head, if I think that then you are superior because you came before your father, it's not the correct understanding. Our understanding is very much linear. So we are looking at it, who came first? So Vishnu appeared first, therefore he is supreme. But we don't understand that Vishnu is like the door through which Krishna walks into the mature world. All the avatars are contained within Krishna. And Krishna comes into the mature world through Vishnu. Just like the water is coming through the tap. The children, they think the water comes from the tap. And they are correct, because when they open the tap, the water comes. But like a grown-up understands that the tap is not the source of the water. There's some great reservoir somewhere in the city, and also beyond that, there's some great reservoir called the ocean. And they also understand there's some clouds that bring that water in the form of rain. So greater understanding is needed to properly honor all these divine managers and controllers within the universe. And therefore our process is that we must hear correctly from the disciplic succession in a submissive mood to understand what is the truth of the universe, what is the truth of God, what is the truth of the demigods. It is discussed here about mantra. This mantra that he was going to give would become more powerful because he would have personally chanted it. Prabhupada brings up the Hare Krishna mantra. That the Hare Krishna mantra is already Maha Mantra, great mantra of deliverance. And that when it is received by a disciple from the great devotee, the spiritual master, it becomes more powerful. It's a very interesting concept. I was thinking about it, and that it is not really something to kind of think and understand. How? It is a revealed truth. We receive it with folded hands and understand that this holy name is Krishna himself. So Krishna is a person, and this personality wants to reveal himself to us, is coming to us, offering us a personal relationship. So he's all-powerful, Krishna. All-powerful also means that he can become more and more powerful according to his own free will. So if it is Krishna who desires to become more powerful, or if it's Krishna who is more pleased when he is given to others through the lips of a pure Vaishnava, then why won't Krishna become more powerful? If Krishna can become ever fresh in his beauty, that the gopis are lamenting, who is this creator who's created this blinking? These eyelids are obstructing our view of Krishna. So with every blink, every time they see, Krishna has become even more attractive. And they become happy, and Krishna sees that they are happy, he becomes happy. When he becomes more happy, he's more attractive, and therefore they are more pleased. And like that, eternally so, ever attracting the devotees in his Navayovanam feature, ever fresh, youthful feature. So Krishna coming through the lips of his devotee is definitely pleased, and therefore he appears in a more powerful way. We hear of this in the case of in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the two brothers Rupa Goswami and Anupam, they went to Prayag to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prayag, there's a confluence there of the Jamuna and the Ganga. So they were staying in a place called Triveni. Having escaped the service of the Nawab, so that service position was not pleasing to them. Actually, Sanatana Goswami quit that service in a very interesting way. He stopped coming to work. And the idea was that he's sick. So the Nawab was worried, where is this man, Big man, he decided to go find him. When he got to his house, he found that Sanatana Goswami was with 20 to 30 brahmanas, and they were discussing Shrimad Bhagavatam, the topics of Krishna. And the Nawab said, oh, is this your sickness? He said, yeah, now that I'm absorbed in Bhagavatam, you can consider that I will not do my service anymore. I need you. My whole kingdom is reliant on you. So anyway, they had escaped that service, and they were searching for the service of the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sanatan was locked up for that behavior because the king thought you were such a rascal. Without you, my kingdom is lost, so to jail. So the brothers went, and when they were with Mahaprabhu, then Vallabhacharya came to meet Mahaprabhu. Vallabhacharya is an astute scholar, he was a brahmana, and very much famous personality. At that time, the caste system, you could say, was well in place. So the brahmanas were the only ones entitled to study the Veda, and they were very much proud of their knowledge. You can kind of think of the professors of the day. As soon as they come to PhD, they have this permanent head damage, which creates a bit of pride, I know. When you find a very humble one, it's very astonishing. And because mature learning also goes to the head. So also the brahmanas had that type of mentality. So when Anupam and Rupa Goswami came and Mahaprabhu was introducing them, they stood at a distance and immediately offered obeisances. And when he tried to come closer, they said, don't come closer, we are so fallen. We are so fallen, we are not worthy of being in your presence. You'll be contaminated by our association. And so they sort of ran away, and Vallabhacharya was puzzled. What type of devotees are this? What's going on here? And Mahaprabhu corroborated the story, said, yes, no, they are very fallen, they're from low class situation. So, but is Mahaprabhu, he's already hinting, yeah, right? You are very elevated, you don't need such association, I'm protecting you. But Mahaprabhu was, part of his mission was to cut down this established order that only those who are born in the Brahmana community have access to devotional service. He wanted to show that devotional service is superior to Brahminical standing in the Varnashram. So as the days went past, Vallabhacharya, hearing the chanting of these two brothers, he himself began to understand that, he says to Mahaprabhu, the vibration of the holy name that these two are always chanting, they cannot be considered as low class. In fact, they are the greatest persons. They should be taken shelter of. Because the voltage of their chanting, their love for the Lord, that vibration created a change within him. Haridas Thakur, he's sitting in a cave and he's chanting. But the influence of his spiritual power is traveling far and wide. It reminds me of Ayendra Prabhu. Shripada Ayendra Prabhu ki jai. He's sitting in Vrindavan and chanting. And he's always surprised when devotees come and we all just Google, Prabhu, thank you. I get the good fortune of meeting him. So I was just like fanning out like anything, Prabhu. He's apologizing, I'm so sorry, I haven't released an album, I'm such a perfectionist, it's taking time. I said, no, Prabhu, we are receiving your kirtan, the 6 to 7 slot. We live from it. His eyes are open wide. Really? I said, yes, I really like your chanting. You're like a mad orchestra conductor. He said, yeah, he really liked that. Yeah, I like that. And he didn't know, he wasn't aware that his chanting then in Vrindavan was affecting all of us from everywhere. He was shocked. You're from South Africa. You're listening to the kirtan, really? Yeah, we live from it, but this is... So a devotee, pure in heart, simply serving his Lord from Vrindavan, the influence of his chanting, his vibration, even today, a whole culture of sitting, for hours and chanting has evolved in this movement. Previously, kirtan meant those who have strong knees and stamina, standing. There was none of that sit and chant for hours. He brought that to really... So we see that the Maha Mantra, when it is chanted by the pure devotees, the advanced souls, it certainly increases in its potency. Srila Prabhupada, he was at Tompkins Square Park. One elderly sadhu with this jaja, one small bongo drum. He would go and sit there and play on it and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, and all these young people became attracted, come around and dance and play whatever instruments, and in this way, from the lips of one, the vibration extended across the entire planet, that others made it their life's dedication, that we will do what he is asking us to do. So it is powerful for the pure devotee, but it becomes more powerful when it is given. And especially when it is received by one who's accepting discipline. Disciple means one who accepts discipline. That means there's some submission, there's a mood of service, and therefore the mercy flows from the exalted to the humble. So Haridas Thakur also demonstrated the same principle, that the idea was to embarrass him and spoil his reputation, because his influence was being felt. So now, the managers or the leaders, official, now there's no one is proud of what we are doing. They are talking about this sadhu. What is he? What does he have? What control does he have? So anyway, his influence is that he's renounced. Oh, okay, we'll see about that. So again, from his conditioned position, it is said that Atmavan Jagat Manyate, that everyone sees others according to his own consciousness. So he is interested and, you could say, subject to lusty desires. So he calculated, no man can resist a beautiful woman. And so he got the best prostitute to go and visit him. And Haridas at the time is a young man, he's also handsome. She came, she's beautiful in the evening, showing herself in ways that are very attractive to any regular man. Haridas Thakur is saying, "Oh, why have you come?" "No, I want to enjoy with you." Straightforward for the time, So Haridas is like, "Okay, that's a good proposal, no problem. It's just that I haven't finished my rounds. So if you just wait a bit, let me just finish my rounds, then we'll get to it, no problem." And he's chanting, Prem Nam, loving holy name. And she's hearing this holy name, which is coming from a devotee full of love of Krishna. He's chanting, it's getting late. She thinks, well, okay, I'll come tomorrow. Come tomorrow, sorry, I didn't finish today. She came the next day, I have to chant, he's chanting. By the third day, she could understand that I should chant Hare Krishna also. And what was I doing? How could I come here to try and disturb this man? She could understand that all that money that she was being given was just like someone ties a rope to a chest full of gold and tosses you in the river and says, "Here's your gold." you go down with the nectar. So she surrendered. And he gave the instruction, "You stay here now, I leave you with my cave, and you worship Tulsi Maharani and chant the holy name." And she became such a wonderful saint. People were coming to see her, receiving the holy name from the lips of a pure devotee. Otherwise, it is said that even when we hear the glories from a non-devotee, that can be poisonous. It's always it's always been a thing, which wasn't very clear when you think about it. Anyway, the example given by Sanatana Goswami is that milk touched by the lips of a serpent, although it's nutritious milk and it looks like milk, but because there's some poison in there, when you drink it, you're done. So also, those who have no devotion to Krishna, sometimes who are also offensive to Krishna, thinking that ultimately he is impersonal, even though they may speak the glories of Krishna, those glories do not act in that positive way. In fact, they carry a type of poison. Because it all sounds good, but ultimately, right at the end, it's about you becoming God, merging. So receiving the mantra from the bona fide pure devotee, from the spiritual master, then chanting it attentively leads to success, as we understood in the story of Gopakuma. He was an uneducated boy from Govardhan, and he was given the Gopal mantra by his guru, and that Gopal mantra, by attentive chanting, the guru gave the benediction. It will give you everything that you desire and more. Gopal Kumar, though, desired to meet Gopal Krishna. So I don't know, for us, if we take that attitude, okay, I'll chant this mantra, it will give me all that I desire. Yes, Krishna is a desire-fulfilling tree. But how he will fulfill our desires, that is up to him. It may be as we want, and it also may be in a way that we did not expect. So again, the last line has to do with attentive chanting, because inattentive hearing is offensive. So that meditation should always be there, that we should try to hear attentively when we chant Krishna's name or when we hear Krishna's glories. That is favorable, and that favorable service pleases Krishna. And when Krishna is pleased, what's there not to be achieved? So we want to be advanced in being, sucking up to Krishna. We want him to be happy with us. So whatever it takes. And the first part is chant his name, and let's hear it very nicely. Krishna, I'm here for your name. And when the mind goes, bring it back. So Lord Shiva still hasn't given the mantra, but if you stay tuned, soon he will give a very powerful mantra. Very, very nice. Very nice. So, till the next episode of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Haribo. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. I was just thinking about this point of Vishnu and Krishna, who is supreme. Where do they actually get these arguments from? Or why is it so prevalent that they think Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu? Do you know where this, which scriptures state that Vishnu is supreme, or other, other scriptures?
Generally, this understanding of Radha Krishna worship has not been available in the different sampradayas, because there Lakshmi Narayan, Vaikuntha revelation has been there, and so the idea of the majestic form of God is understood. And so when Krishna is discussed, then he doesn't act in that understood, authorized form of God. So just that estimation starts to come. You've experienced this. If you go to South India, to get to see the deity, you understand that you're going to see God, because queues and queues, and you just get a few seconds, jai, and finished. Whereas with us, it's so liberal. Krishna is there. You look at him, you don't look at him, you go, take prasadam, come back, he's still there. And then his activities also, they don't conform to the idea of the supreme moralist. Because Krishna, he breaks all sorts of conventions. His whole thing is, once you have some box for him, you try to box him in, You find yourself in the box and he's outside. He's about breaking those misconceptions. So we would say that within the Vedic literature, the revelation is Narayan and Vaikuntha. And so that is understood, Vishnu, Narayan is God. And then within the Vaishnava Sampradayas, especially this Brahmamada Vaishnava Sampradaya, then that revelation of Radha Krishna worship was established. So it is not, you could say percentage-wise, it's very small within the Vedic schools, and therefore that resistance tends to come. And Krishna has then appeared in that way we expressed in the Bhagavatam, which then solidifies that understanding. Yes, he has come from Vishnu. Just see. And so it just seems like these guys are really lost, because here it is in Bhagavatam. Oh.
I had another question on the other point you made of how, when the mantra is given, there's a power. Maybe we can explore a little more. Like you were saying, it's or impossible to understand, but like how does it happen that? So you were saying Krishna is very pleased to appear through the mouth of his pure devotees. Right? So that's how. But then, so spiritual master chants on the beats also, and he gives us the mantra. So then, how is it afterwards? Like, okay, he speaks, and then after, how is it that the power stays, or how is it that, or what? Yeah, how do we understand that?
Yeah, Pibata Bhagavatam. We hear of Shuka Mukha Dravya Samhitam. Then Shukadev Goswami is repeating this Bhagavatam, but because it's coming from his lips, it's now imbued with a special potency, a special taste. So Diksha and initiation means now one is accepting the spiritual master as the via medium of service. So it's almost like we've been chanting before we received the mantra, but now there's an amplifier. You know, this, if I speak on this mic, and it's not connected to the amp, there's something you can hear. But once the amp comes into play, then the potency. So it's someone who's been going to University of Zurich, just visiting whenever. Sometimes you can go and attend some classes also, but you haven't registered with the university, so you can't get any certificate degree from there. So once you register with the spiritual master, you sign up, then your attending of classes, your chanting takes effect. It's connected to the parampara, and so the current of mercy is like it's charged. This is the explanation. But you know, if we feel it or not, like some people, they ask you, so how do you feel now? You know, like after initiation, they'll go to the initiate, like, so well, it was a nice, I like my name, you know. But yeah, the spiritual process is said to work like that. Therefore, also even the offenses are activated, it's said, at that point. Now you are accountable, because now you are getting you're connected. Something. Yes, what is it?
Yes, just to add something, then you have also to follow the spiritual master, because if you don't follow, then the power goes away again.
Yes. Not just, oh, now I've received, but now to stay connected. Because we see that also sometimes a personality is very powerful, potent, lots of success, lots of followers. And if that personality starts to think, I am powerful, and starts to deviate from the connection, then you know everything is lost. We see those who are connected to Prabhupada, by that connection, they become. But once, if that connection is severed, then again you become a mouse. So yes, that connection has to be kept, maintained, watered. Then we find still the mantra reciprocates powerfully. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you, dear devotees. Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Krishna.